And hello, one and all, and welcome to our live Monday Night Raw review. This is going to be our live review, taking a look at everything that took place on the June 20th, 2016 edition of Raw, live from Phoenix, Arizona tonight. And with me, I once again have a special guest with me, Angry Mark. It is great to have you back on the channel. Welcome to this live Raw review.
Well, thank you, and I'm glad to be back. For to get a what? This is my third time, so
Yeah,
yeah, third
third or
time's a charm.
fourth.
Let's see what we can do.
Definitely. It's great to have you back and looking forward to your opinion on tonight's edition of Raw. I'm going to say right off the bat, I really enjoyed this edition of Raw. I felt like there was a lot of good stuff from the returns to the matches to just everything really flowed well tonight. I felt like for once WWE utilized the 3 hours effectively. They had things spread out. And what were your overall thoughts on tonight's show? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed some parts. For me today, Raw was like a roller coaster. Like I would be like, "Sweet, this is happening," and then for the next segment or match, I'd be like, "Oh, why do we have to have this?" And then I would get excited again, and then back down. So it was just a roller coaster for me today.
Okay, because it is tough with the 3 hour format. I hope to God that they go back to 2 hours because I have to. If you all know, I will be at Raw on July 25th, and that happens to be after the brand split. And I hope I don't have to sit there and suffer through Raw with half the roster if it's still going to be 3 hours. I still don't think that. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. Oh man, and also for those of you for the benefits, that want to make SmackDown a thing, I hear it will be 3 hours too. So 6 hours of wrestling
That's
a
an
week.
awful. I'm going to make a video on that eventually about how less is more, but that is an atrocious idea. If they want me to not watch, I mean, I can barely watch Raw as it is, but I think
Yeah,
SmackDown going 3 hours, just my opinion on it. It's way,
actually, the surprising part. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
sorry, I'm just going to say it's way too much, and you're going to burn out your fans, your loyal fans like me. I mean, I can only watch 6 hours a week. Come on, I think that's just overkill. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, but that's too much.
Eh, I, yeah, like I was at first. I'm not gonna lie. I marked out when I heard Raw was 3 hours. I
Yeah,
was like, yeah,
this is
sweet.
a
And
good
then
thing.
no, just don't want to happen. And the surprising part is, this is actually sci-fi is the one that wants. I'm not sci-fi.
USA.
You wants to make it 3 hours, not WWE.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand they get. I was looking into it, 50 million in additional revenue from that third hour, but I just feel like it's hurting your product overall. Is it really worth it in the long run? I don't think it is. And with the
Right.
brand split coming up, it makes no sense if you're going to have. Well, if they make SmackDown 3 hours, I think that's a terrible idea because look at ratings. 600,000 people tuned out of that third hour. It ratings.
Wow.
If they would go back to 2 hours, I'm sure the ratings would go up. You know, they really would. They're usually pretty good for their first 2 hours, and it's that third hour that every week it drops like a tank. It does. It's just 3 hours is too much for anything. I mean, Vince. I heard Taz say. Vince even said it. 90 minutes is the perfect time for a wrestling show. That's what Vince said, and that from Taz on his podcast. So 2 hours. It works. It would work.
Yeah, and as much as I'm not a fan of NXT, I understand,
Hmm.
why one of the reasons why people enjoy it, which is because it's only an hour long.
Yes.
So even when it's done, it keeps you wanting more. Like, man, I wish I could finish my appetite, you know what I mean? But I'll just come back, Wednesday.
Right. And if they, I just can't imagine myself. I would have to pick one or the other. I couldn't watch both. I'm sorry. If both are 3 hours, and if you have brand specific pay per views two every month, I mean, oh my god, you're gonna oversaturate your market.
Just keep it one pay-per-view and have both the brands fight on it.
Sure.
It's literally not that like hard to do. I mean, then again, we don't got sponsors and everyone down our throats, but still.
No, but I just isn't less more. I mean, don't they see how
Yeah.
NXT like it's working with that? Like with the they have less pay per views and they just feel more special. It's one after the other. After it's monotonous in a way. It's like, oh, we got another one coming up. Here we go. And it's like the thing is, and we'll get into Raw tonight because there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. But With a 3-hour Raw, it makes the pay-per-view feel less special because that's 3 hours. So, you're diluting the specialness of a pay-per-view if you're getting 3 hours of free TV every Monday night. So, with that out of the way, like I said, there was a lot of good stuff on this show. We're going to get into Raw tonight, folks. And we kick things off. This was awesome. Dean Ambrose is your new WWE champion. He walks down to the ring. Crowd chants, "You deserve it," and he most certainly does. And he mentions that it was fitting that he cashed in Money in the Bank on Seth Rollins, which I like really how they tie that all together. Out of all the guys to cash in on, Dean cashed in on Seth Rollins. Think about how many matches they had. I've enjoyed all of their matches. Their feud was tremendous. And Rollins just beat Ambrose at every opportunity. Every time Ambrose looked like he was getting closer to that title, Rollins beat him. And how fitting was it for Dean Ambrose to cash in Money in the Bank and beat Seth Rollins for that title? I mean, that just adds a whole nother layer to their feud that will continue in the long run. And eventually Roman Reigns came out. He had this stoic look on his face. He gets right into the ring, doesn't say a word. Reigns says it wasn't his night, it was Ambrose's night. And Reigns says that he's happy for his friend, Dean Ambrose. And eventually Seth Rollins makes his way to the ring. So we got all three members of the Shield in the ring. Eventually, Shane McMahon comes out and says tonight we are going to have as our main event Reigns versus Rollins, with the winner getting Ambrose at the pay-per-view. A lot of stuff happened in this opening segment. Mark, what were your thoughts on this opening segment of Raw?
Well, I got to get this out of the way. I'm open. Like, for people that don't know, I'm not a fan of Dean Ambrose, but I'm open to a Dean Ambrose title reign. And, if you look at the three members of the Shield, like, even though, a lot of you probably don't like Roman Reigns, you can tell just by looking at him and Seth Rollins that they're main eventers. Like, they're the real deal. But with Dean, he just doesn't look like a main eventer to me. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, just because of that he needs to drop the belt, but all I'm saying is that I hope him winning the title means that he's going to get some sense of like character development, or at least in you look where he looks like a main eventer, if you get where I'm going with that.
No, I hear you completely. That's a good point. Yeah. And it will help with his credibility, maybe? Is that what you're trying to say? Like, now that he has that can make him, because he's never had it. Now he does have it. He's been, a former U.S. champion as well. Well, that was a joke title reign. I'm just saying, like, his accolades up to this point.
Yeah, again, I enjoyed the segment, and exactly what you said. He just needs like a different look or something to make him look more like a main eventer. Because if I were to show random people, pictures of Seth and Roman, they're gonna be like, "Oh God, those guys, they must be the face of the company." But if I show them a picture of Dean Ambrose, they're gonna be like, what is this guy about?"
Well, what do you think the PG rating limits him? Because if they just turn him loose in a TV-14 environment, I think it'd be even better. He is restricted. You have to remember that. I think he would thrive in a TV-14 environment. Just the unpredictable nature of what he could be able to do.
It does to an extent, but at the same time it doesn't, because we see guys like The Rock and John Cena and all that, they say bad words and all that all the time. So again, in a way it does, but also in a way it doesn't. And sometimes the PG rating isn't always to blame. Sometimes it's just the person performing as the character to blame. You know what I mean? Like, for example, The Rock gets, dumb scripts all the time, but he makes it work because he has the character, he has the charisma, he has it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But with Dean, I don't feel like he can, do that. And granted, it's kind of unfair to compare Dean Ambrose to one of the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But, you get where I'm going. It's just, you need to find a way to, you need to find a way to make everything you do come off as important. And Seth and Roman do that great, but I just don't think Dean can.
Okay, fair enough. Anything else you want to say about this segment before we move on?
No, nothing much. I just liked it.
Okay, good stuff all around. And then what we had up next was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. It's great to see this match happen. Their feud, as we all know, will never end. This was good stuff all around. Surprisingly, Sami Zayn was able to reverse out of the pop-up powerbomb for the win. And I liked how after the match, Owen was incensed. He was enraged. So him and Sammy start brawling on the stage. And then we come back from after the commercial break, and they're brawling backstage, and Sammy jumps off some technical equipment in the back, and they just have to be pulled apart. And I just love how, Sammy was able to get the win and how it just set off something inside of Kevin Owens. And obviously, this feud will possibly culminate at Battleground, and then I could see Sammy going on SmackDown and say Owens remaining on Raw. What were your thoughts on this match and the post-match brawl?
Uh, you know, I'm just not invested in this feud like a lot of other people are. Like, I really like Kevin Owens. He's actually grown on me and has now become a fan favorite. And
Mm-hmm.
part of that is because I don't like Sami Zayn. I find Sami Zayn to be like a weird, version of John Cena, if you will. Granted, he doesn't win all the time, but you get the idea, with the goofiness and and all that. But you again, I'm just not invested in the feud. And as for the brawl after, I liked it, and I actually marked out when Kevin Owens kicked Sami Zayn in the face. But
Oh, there you go. You enjoyed that? So, hey, that's all that matters. Then, well, they did announce, of course, if you haven't heard, the big news, the draft will be happening on July 19th on SmackDown. I think that's a smart move all around. It was rumored to be that the draft possibly would take place on Raw. That is not the case. It will be happening July 19th on SmackDown. And then after this, we had the former executive vice president of talent relations, Mr. John Laurinaitis, make his return to Raw, and he said that he wants to be in charge of SmackDown. And then Shane walks out and says, "Why are you here?" And Shane's like, "No way this is going to happen. We're not going to have some stooge, some puppet be in charge of SmackDown." Shane says that he's going to run SmackDown. And then Johnny says, "Well, I can run Raw instead." And Shane's like, "No, you just get the hell out of here." Were you surprised to see Johnny Ace return to Raw? Because we've been seeing the return of past authority figures in the number of weeks.
yeah, I was. I was kind of surprised to see him because I heard earlier on that he was there, but I didn't really look too much into it. I was like, it's just a rumor. But to actually see him there, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of marked out because I was actually a big fan of People Power back when it happened.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah, I just liked, I just liked the whole People Power gimmick, and I mean, how can I say this? I loved the fact that John Laurinaitis came out, but
Mhm.
I just don't know how I felt about the segment. It just came off as like, bro, are you suffering from old timers already, or like what?
Like, what are you doing here? Why are you? I mean, they had the podium set up, which they didn't really use tonight. I just hit me. I mean, besides that segment, I thought they were going to do something with the podiums, but I guess not.
Yeah.
So
So
it
that's
was what
that.
it was. That's all we pretty much have to say about that. We had Enzo and Big Cass versus the Vaudevillains. Surprisingly, Enzo and Cass were able to get the win with the rocket launcher. I say surprisingly because I thought for sure they might, draw this feud out till Battleground. As we all know, Enzo was injured at the hands of the Vaudevillains, so I thought maybe they would have Enzo and Cass really fight hard to get that huge win over the Vaudevillains, overcome that hurdle, and eventually move on to tag team championships, but instead they have them beat the Vaudevillains in relatively quick fashion. Mark, your thoughts?
Um, this was one of those matches again where okay, I like Enzo and Cass, I really do, and I actually do like the Vaudevillains too, but I don't know, and like I understand this is part of the feud, but in a way it felt like it came out of nowhere. And
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, you can tell that the WWE, they're high on Big Cass, man. The
Yes,
commentary will pull up on him today.
he has a
But
bright future, and he does. He does, but I think right
yeah,
now you keep them together as a unit. It would make no sense to split them up. No sense at all.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If they do split him up, Enzo Amore will be the one that becomes the Marty Jannetty, even though he's the one carrying the team, which I know seems kind of like what, but yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, it was a quick match. Like I said, and Enzo and Big Cass were able to pick up the win. After this, AJ Styles made his way to the ring. He addressed the crowd. He talked about how the dream match was tainted because of Anderson and Gallows interfering. He called them out to the ring in order to apologize. Anderson and Gallows likewise apologized. And then eventually Styles called for John Cena to come out and to accept the apologies of Anderson and Gallows. Cena came out and said he doesn't want an apology. They had a contract, and Anderson and Gallows broke that contract. And Anderson and Gallows do apologize to Cena, but Cena says Styles desperately needed a win, and he got what he needed. And clearly, Styles is trying to cover up that he isn't as good as he says he is. And then Styles says that, well, if you want to take on one of the members of the club tonight, except for me, which I like how he said that, you're most certainly welcome to. So it was announced that Cena and Anderson would have a one-on-one match, which, by the way, was John Cena's first match back on Raw. The match happened. It was a very quick match. Just as Cena was about to hit the AA, he hit it. Styles and Gallows came to the ring and beat down John Cena. And after the match, they hit the Magic Killer on Cena, and Styles topped it off with the Styles Clash. Mark, what were your thoughts on the segment and the match that followed it?
Yeah. Sorry, I got a little choked up there. But yeah.
Okay.
If for anyone that follows me on Twitter, you can tell that I didn't like this segment at all, because I even tweeted. I said, well, what the f did a third grader write this promo? This segment, because literally it just came off so goofy with the club in there with AJ Styles. You guys need to tell me you're sorry.
I thought they were possibly setting up for maybe a Finn Balor return, like a debut, because they were like acting hokey and trying to lure Cena in, but that obviously didn't happen. So, yeah, it was weird the way they were acting. I have to say, it was a little hokey.
Yeah, there was 2 times where I thought Finn Balor was going to come out, which we'll talk about later. And then John Cena coming out. It was John Cena being John Cena.
Yep.
And I agree with the tweet sent out by Delexman, where he said, "You can't tell me John Cena didn't see this coming, where the club was going to attack him. I mean, if
of course,
he's obviously stupid." Which so far John Cena's just return has been kind of stupid, because he got outsmarted by AJ Styles on Money in the Bank, and then he also got outsmarted again.
And I did we have to real quick going back to Money in the Bank. I like how he didn't know how to figure out AJ. And I liked how AJ targeted, his right leg. I think we need to see more of that in wrestling, targeting and working on a body part. The psychology, the selling, that's a problem with the industry as a whole, I feel, but we need more of that. Just an aside. I want to get that out there.
Yeah, whatever that wrestler's finisher is, work on that body part, so that way you make sure he doesn't hit the finisher. It's actually very simple psychology, but
Mm-hmm. But yeah, anything else you have to say about the match and the segment itself?
Mm-hmm. No, that was just goofy, and the match was just whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Then after this, we had Becky Lynch being interviewed backstage. She said she's tired of being attacked, and every time she's had a friendship with somebody, it's usually broken. It's come to an end. Eventually, Natalya lays Becky Lynch out backstage, so it looks like we are going to get a Becky Lynch versus Natalya feud. I think this is good. We need to be having, 2 feuds at least for the women's division, the championship feud, obviously, and then a feud between 2 other women. So I think Becky and Natalya can go out there and have a good series of matches. Your thoughts on a potential Becky Lynch versus Natalya feud?
I in a way, I don't really care. Put it this way, I don't care about the feud, but I am interested in Natalya as a heel, if that makes any sense.
Because it's been a while since she's been a heel. I can't remember the last time she was.
Yeah, and man, I just got to point out, heel Natalya is actually hotter than face Natalya. I hate going back to my Twitter, but I tweeted out with the picture of that guy from the '70s show, and it said, "Ooh, spicy to Natalya." And I also marked out, of course, when she hit Becky, because again, I don't like Becky. But,
okay. That's fair enough. I'm a huge Becky Lynch fan, but that's okay. See, we can disagree, but in the end, we don't have to come to blows. So that's how it should be.
No, Daniel, you got no life because you're a Becky fan. No, I'm just kidding.
That's okay. After this, we had Baron Corbin versus Zack Ryder. Fairly quick match. Corbin hits the end of days for the win. All I can say is thank God Baron Corbin has moved on from that long, overdrawn feud with Dolph Ziggler. Hopefully, bigger and better things are ahead for the Lone Wolf. Your thoughts on this match? Nothing really to it. It was just really a way to, make Baron Corbin look dominant.
Well, I don't like jobber matches because, and to be honest, I think jobber matches are one of those things that they're no longer relevant to the wrestling industry because now that people know that it's quote unquote fake,
Yeah.
that people are like, oh, they're obviously just doing this to make them look strong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And also, I think that Dolph Ziggler feud really, really slowed down Baron Corbin's momentum.
Yeah, it did. I mean,
They're gonna have to put him in a serious feud because what he's doing now, it's just not doing him justice. And I like Baron Corbin actually.
me too. Me too. I think he was killing it on NXT. And you're right. Do you feel that the feud with Ziggler should have probably ended at Payback? He should have won there, and that's it. You move on, I mean,
Yeah,
Ziggler beat him, and then it's this 50-50 crap. It made no sense. Yeah, they need to stop that. You got to go with a guy. This is the guy we're going with, and he's going to win, and not win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Because it doesn't work, It doesn't.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And since you're building this new wrestler, and supposedly we're in a new era, they should have just had a one-off, him beat Dolph Ziggler, and then
Sure.
be done with it.
I mean, that would have been. I mean, Dolph still. He was a former world champion, so if he would have beat him there, it's like, boom, you beat a former world champion, can't take that away. Okay, let's move on to here. But no, they just kept going on and on and on. It's like, enough.
And I'm just gonna be honest with the Dolph fans. Dolph Ziggler's as irrelevant as disco music. Come on now. Like,
And
no.
it's a shame because they had an opportunity after Survivor Series 2014 to do something with him, and they dropped the ball with that. They did absolutely nothing with him. So I blame the creative because they could have done something. He beat Team Authority, and they just flushed it all down the drain. So I don't know what the hell that was all about, but props to them and their 30 writers. Good job. Good job.
Yeah, I do agree. Like again, even though I'm not a Dolph Ziggler fan, I agree. They squashed his momentum a
I mean, they
billion
could have done
times. Like,
something, and they didn't do nothing. They didn't even try.
yeah, it's like okay, we gave you a moment now. Could go away.
Yeah, that's all you get. That's your accolade. Now we're going to do pretty much jack crap with you. But with that aside, let's talk about the women's championship match. Charlotte defending her title against Paige. I thought this was a solid match. I'm glad that the women were actually given time this week. Thank you. Compared to the weeks before, it seemed like they were getting hardly any time on this show at all. There were some nice near falls in this match. Towards the end, Paige hit the rampage, but Dana Brooke was able to pull Charlotte's foot under the rope. And in the ensuing confusion, Charlotte was able to hit her natural selection for the pinfall. After the match, this was great. Sasha Banks comes out, decks Dana Brooke, hits the backstabber on Charlotte before Brooks saves Charlotte from the further ensuing attack. And Paige and Sasha Banks are left standing tall. Mark, what was your thoughts on this women's championship match and Sasha Banks' return to Monday Night Raw?
It was all right. And then Twitter was funny as can be. They were like, "Wait a minute, how's Paige wrestling tonight? I thought she got arrested." It's like, or maybe it was just a scene for Total Divas.
That's probably what it was. That's probably.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, I like the fact that Sasha's back. I'm
Yes.
a huge fan of Sasha Banks.
Thank you.
I think she's arguably the best female wrestler right now in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I think even better than Bailey, to be honest, because you can use Sasha as a heel or face, and it works both ways.
But Bailey's straight up fake. I don't think Bailey.
Yeah.
No, it wouldn't work. No, like we're not even gonna go.
That would be funny though, like a happy gubbly girl, being like, actually, it could work
Well,
if you make her and Bo Dallas a couple, if you think about it. But yeah.
But anyways, how do you think we get to, just looking into the future, because you know it has to be Charlotte versus Sasha one-on-one for that title at SummerSlam. Do you think we see possibly, I was throwing out a scenario, maybe a triple threat match, Paige versus Charlotte versus Sasha? That way you save that one-on-one confrontation for SummerSlam, hopefully?
Yeah, okay. If I'm booking this, what I would do is I would have Charlotte beat Sasha Banks at Battleground. Because remember, they're building distinction between Dana and Charlotte. So for
Right.
me, Charlotte would beat Sasha at Battleground, and then you would turn Dana Brooke face, but make her a cocky face against Charlotte, and have her beat Charlotte at SummerSlam.
Okay, so you just go right into Charlotte versus Sasha. You wouldn't save that for SummerSlam.
Uh, no, because even though Charlotte and Sasha does seem like a bigger match on paper, I think for a storyline says that it has to be Dana versus Charlotte at SummerSlam because it would make more sense and it would actually put Dana over in a big way. You know, because remember, we're trying to build new stars for the new era, and
Mm-hmm.
Sasha is already a star. She doesn't need to wrestle on SummerSlam. She's already, a big component of the women's division. But with Dana, she needs that push with the women's championship more than Sasha does.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So anything else you have to say about the match and the return of Sasha Banks?
Not the match was what it was, and I marked out for Sasha coming back.
Good stuff all around. All right, then we had the return of the Wyatt family. And just as they were about to begin talking, Bray was talking a little bit. The frickin' New Day interrupted them. I was like, whoa, this is, talk about a contrast of styles. You have the New Day and the Wyatt family together in the same ring. Well, they were on the stage, but you get my idea. At the same time, the New Day come out, and the Wyatt just starts to laugh, and he asks the New Day if they realize what they have just done. And Bray says that he's seen New Day's future. In the future, New Day falls. New Day falls. And what I liked about this was you didn't see it coming. It just happened out of nowhere. I've wanted to see this match for a long time. I feel the Wyatts deserve to hold the tag team titles. And I don't know about you, but I liked how Xavier kind of was entranced by Bray Wyatt. That was good stuff right there. Like it was a subtle touch, but I felt it worked nonetheless. Well, how did you feel about this segment?
I really liked it. I'm a big fan of Bray Wyatt. I think he's the best character right now in probably all of wrestling, if not at least WWE. And when I heard he was returning, I was like,
Yes.
yes. I was marking out. My first thought when Bray was coming back was, I'm like, okay, there's a chance Finn Balor is going to debut here.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I saw like you, when I saw it was the New Day, I was like,
Whoa.
oh my god, like now this is interesting, huh?
Something different. Good. We need more of that.
Yeah, and again, I agree with you too. I love that little thing they did with Xavier Woods. Basically, again, just like I almost thought he was going to be mind controlled by Bray Wyatt,
Yes.
but I was like, no, don't go that route because like that's when it gets too like goofy.
Yeah, that is true.
Because yeah, it's like no, don't do that. But I was thankful they didn't.
Yeah. But do you think we'll see what I proposed on Twitter is a 6-man tornado tag team match for the titles at Battleground? That way you get all 6 men involved, just have pure chaos. I think it would be freaking awesome.
Oh man, that would be a good match, but why not make it I don't know, just add a little spice to it, make it seem like a very hardcore match. Like, why not have it be a steel cage match? And in order to win, both members of the team have to escape the cage.
Okay, that'd be different. Sure. I don't remember the last time we saw a tag team. It's probably the Usos and Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan, right?
Yeah,
That's
that
one
was
I can
what,
remember.
2014-ish?
Yeah, January the 14th, whatever. But yeah, sure, I'd be down for that. I've always wanted to see these two teams clash, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be seeing it happen at Battleground. So that'll be another good match addition to the card, which I think is shaping up very nicely. Anything else you have to say about this?
Just WWE, please, please, for the love that is all is good, don't mess up with Bray Wyatt again. This is your
No.
third time. Don't do it. Okay, please don't turn Bray Wyatt into booty.
Turn him babyface because the crowd. I mean, did you hear that, by the way, the reaction he got tonight? That was a huge pop.
Oh yeah, Bray Wyatt's one of those wrestlers. He gets consistent, great pops wherever he goes.
So if he's getting pops, shouldn't they go with it? I mean, I just don't understand. It just makes no sense.
Wasn't the Wyatt family face though? Like, isn't this like a face versus face thing? Because didn't Bray turn face before he left?
Well, I felt like it was was it really an official turn? I felt like it was like a tease in a way. I didn't see it as an official turn, I had a feeling they'd be going that way eventually. It's tough. I think they're tweener. I'd say it depends. We'll have to see how they book it next week,
Yeah.
the weeks to come. So let's just leave it at that. After this, we had what was scheduled to be Rusev versus Titus O'Neil, but this broke down into a brawl, and I actually like this. I like just seeing two big guys go out there. They have an issue. Titus was pissed that Rusev got into his own kid's face on Father's Day, nonetheless. So it made sense for what was Titus going to do. He wasn't going to have a match with this guy. He was going to beat the shit out of him. And these two went back and forth, and I thought they had a pretty enjoyable brawl. It was something different on the show, and it gets me excited for, this undercard match between Rusev and Titus O'Neil, their second one, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm happy they're doing something with Titus because I think he is talented. Mark, what did you think about this brawl?
I am loving this feud, and I love the brawl too. And I like the psychology of, since Titus O'Neil was embarrassed in front of his kids
Yep.
on a pay-per-view, nonetheless, he was so angered that he came out and he just flat out whooped ass.
That's
Like,
exactly.
I love it. Yes, I'm loving. I'm invested in this story. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Good stuff, like I said, all around. And anything else to say?
No, not really. But I do, and I'm holding out hope that Titus wins the U.S. Championship.
Maybe that would be nice. But I'm also happy that Rusev is being booked as a monster again, as I said in my Money in the Bank review. So either way, it's a win-win. I feel they're doing right with this feud so far. So
Yeah.
After this, we had a backstage segment between Shane O'Mac and Chris Jericho. Jericho says he knows Shane doesn't like him and that he's had it out for him. And Jericho thinks that he should be the number one contender for the WWE title. And Jericho said he would rather work for 10 Stephanie McMahons than one Shane. I like this back. I just love how Chris Jericho had the boo-boo face on. He looks so pissed off. When he has that scowl on his face, heel Chris Jericho is the best Chris Jericho. And him and Shane going back and forth a little bit, it was just great stuff all around,
Yeah, Jericho literally had that look on his face like he just smelled the nastiest fart he's ever had in his life. He's like,
Yes.
And him on the mic, is gold. Like literally, there's no better wrestler right now on the roster better than Jericho when it comes to talking.
He's the veteran that you need to have on your roster. Every roster needs that veteran with the experience, with the talent, with the mic skills, future Hall of Famer. What more can you say?
Yeah, and this segment was good too. Again, Jericho is just he's simply one of the greatest of all time.
Legend. And he will give you the gift of Jericho. So, yeah, we're going to move on now to our final match. It was Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. All around good stuff. This was a really good match. Probably not as good. I don't know. How would you say? Did you enjoy Money in the Bank more than this match? Because I thought they were both good, but I give the slight edge to Money in the Bank.
Yeah, a slight edge to Money in the Bank, and Money. For those people that don't know, I gave Money in the Bank 8 out of 10 pay-per-view of the year. So
it was a good show. It really was.
Yeah.
The big matches delivered, but this match certainly delivered. Pulled no punches. No pun intended. We had Dean Ambrose on commentary. What I did like was how Reigns speared Rollins over the Spanish announcer's table. That was a really nice spot. Rollins we missed the frog splash, and that's when Reigns hit the drive-by and eventually threw Rollins into the Spanish announce table. I'm surprised the table didn't break, but I was thinking it might break, but I thought they were going to try and get it to break, but they never went back to it, so whatever. Both Reigns and Rollins were counted out, and then this was when the announcement was made. I was shocked. I thought for sure this was going to be saved for SummerSlam. Shane announces it's going to be the Shield triple threat match at Battleground. So it makes you wonder. They're doing this now, obviously not saving it till SummerSlam. Do you think that's because these guys are going to be on different shows, perhaps? I'm excited for this match. What are your thoughts about the match being announced for Battleground rather than what everybody thought was going to be at SummerSlam?
I have mixed emotions for it right now for it being announced for Battleground. Again, I just have mixed emotions. On one hand, I like the fact they're trying to make Battleground important.
Sure.
But on the other hand, I'm like, I think this match is too big for that kind of pay-per-view. And this is one of the reasons why I can't really get behind Dean Ambrose. The goofiness on commentary where he tries to be funny just needs to stop.
Mm-hmm.
It really did, because that was I was really into the match, and then when Dean Ambrose would talk, I would just be like, oh no, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, just, you're champion. Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Seth and Roman, they walk, talk, and act like a main eventer, and Dean Ambrose just doesn't have that. And again, I'm open for a Dean Ambrose title reign. They just need to do something with him. And Roman versus Seth, the match itself was great.
Yeah, it was all around. Crowd was into
complaints for the match.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we got the big announcement. We're gonna wrap things up here. It's been a long review. Good stuff all around. Good talk. What grade would you give tonight's edition of Raw?
Oh man, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
So I believe that's a C plus.
Sure, that sounds right to me. C plus. I've been thinking about it. I'm gonna go with a B plus. Like I said, there was a lot that I enjoyed on this show, so I'm giving Raw tonight a B plus. So, folks, those are our thoughts on tonight's edition. Well, I should say last night's edition of Raw. Mark, if you want to get a plug in for your channel, you're most certainly welcome to do so.
Thank you. So you can follow me on Twitter at West_Texas, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, TheAngryMark. I believe there's a link in the description.
Yes, sir.
And if you got a Spreaker account, you can go follow me on Spreaker, where I don't talk that much wrestling on there. It's mainly like politics and sports and other stuff. Yeah.
All right, all around good stuff. So, folks, thank you all for listening and watching. Remember to please click my like and subscribe button for more video content coming soon to my channel. Be on the lookout for my Battleground card predictions video. I also got to watch the Stone Cold podcast with AJ Styles that was taking place during this live review. So as soon as this review is over, I'm going to watch it, and I will give you my full thoughts and opinions on it. Mark, once again, thank you for joining me for this live Raw review, and we will all see you in our next respective videos. Until then, guys, thanks for listening. Peace.